Points.
Howdy there, partners, and welcome to another episode of the Broad Points Podcast. I am your host, the broad that points, the broad with the points. It's me, Tyler, the lady. And welcome back, you guys. What did you guys think of Marisol, right? Feel free to reach out to me. Last week, we had a very special guest on. Marisol Camacho was here. Very, very wise and dear friend to me. I was so excited to be able to share some of the things that she's been posting about. Hopefully, if you guys enjoyed her, you were able to follow her. You can reach out to her. Such a good time, right? Then that week, we go into Halloween. And I don't know about you guys. I love Halloween so much. I love to dress up. I love to be creative. Anytime I get to make a costume or a prop, sign me up, dude. I'm through the roof. I just get so exhilarated, just excited, like, bam. This year, it was a little bit different. I'm not going to lie. This year, I'd created some costumes for Matt and I to go to a wedding in June. And so my brain, really only used to doing one costume a year, was like, Tyler, what do you mean we have to do another costume? And so, I think I ended up wearing 3 different costumes in the month of October, 2 of which were just purchased. I was, a typical skeleton bodysuit. And then I was Chucky for a dance class, which I'm not going to lie, I don't always agree with online purchasing because I do want to support local vendors, but both of those things I got offline. So, not my proudest moments, but also they looked great and I felt good in them. So that was fun. Then we're going to call it 3 days before Halloween. I was still trying to decide what Matt and I were going to be because I don't know how it happened, but apparently I've just become the decider for the costumes of I take the reins, I make it happen. And so, considering the fact that I love creating them, it's not the worst thing to be in control of. It's just my brain, it felt kind of depleted. It felt like, what do you mean we have to do another costume? However, ever since Matt and I went to Amsterdam, I'm going to call it maybe 2016 that we went there, 2017, we went to Amsterdam and we went to the Van Gogh Museum, and I love Van Gogh, you guys, so much. Van Gogh has always been one of the artists that always really stuck out in my head growing up. There are a lot of really great artists out there. Please study art history if you're interested. Van Gogh, his museum, he's a Dutch painter. And he has a whole museum dedicated to him. You have to make reservations online, you guys. You can't just go into the Van Gogh Museum. Please make your reservations online in advance. We did that. And we went there. And as we're walking around, we get to this floor. First of all, amazed by all of his art. To see the evolution of his art, to see the quantity of his art along with the quality of his art in this museum just absolutely blew our mind. And I remember talking to my friends and just really trying to give them the artist perspective of this, being like, you guys, this is oil. A lot of the stuff that he was painting with is oil paint. Just think about how long it took for that paint to cure. And the thickness of some of the paints on there, it just blew their mind to even think about how much time and how much energy and effort was going into all of these paintings that were in this museum. Absolutely incredible. I would love to go back. I think I'm planning to go back at some point. Maybe some friends want to meet me there. We could all have an Amsterdam trip together. But we get to this floor and it's all his self-portraits. You might think he only has one self-portrait or maybe 2 self-portraits, one, pre-ear cutoff and one post-ear cutoff. No, you guys, there's a whole floor of self-portraits, just him, all the way down this hallway. And I don't know if you've seen my boyfriend, Matt, or not, but I personally think that he looks so much like Van Gogh. It's insane. And we're walking down this hallway of all of his self-portraits, and people are like looking at him. People are like pointing at him. And our friend and I are like, yeah, dude, like you're Van Gogh, bro, like straight up. So then a couple weeks ago, I'm out at a show at Pappy and Harriet's, super awesome venue up in Pioneer Town in the high desert. And I meet some really rad ladies up there, and we're all jamming out to this artist. His name is Soraya, and he is so insanely talented. If you have never heard of like Mongolian throat singing or throat singing, please look it up. It is so cool. It is almost like tribal and like therapeutic, and he sings in multiple octaves at once. So he's like doing a humming or like a low pitch thing, but also at the same time you hear this crazy high pitch whistle that comes out simultaneously. No transition. Like it was insane. So we're rocking out to this guy and just going off and just like loving it, feeling it, having our spiritual moment out in the high desert. And she starts to talk to me afterwards, and we end up talking about a lot of things, but Halloween comes up, and what are we going to be this year? Because I had showed her last year that Matt and I were Oblina and Crumb from Avril Monsters, which I made out of Warbler and craft foam and, plasti dip, acrylic paint. Like it was bananas. That was such a fun costume to wear. It was maybe a little not practical to move around in, but it was such a good costume and I loved it so much. And she loved Avril Monsters. So we just started to, chat about how awesome it is to make costumes. And then she goes, well, what are you going to be this year? And I was like, I don't know. I actually haven't decided. And maybe I have, a little bit of procrastination that runs deep within me that I try not to, let go too far. This year it was that third day when I realized that, maybe I should make Matt Van Gogh. I was like, I totally want to. And that is honestly the easiest costume for him because his face does most of the work. So listening to my friend up in Pioneer Town with her inspiration to be like, no, dude, you should really do that. That is like a really good idea. I did it. On that third day before Halloween, I sculpted Matt's ear out of clay foam, and then I started painting it. And you may not realize this, but you can't just paint one color of, we'll call it tan or beige onto white and have it look like skin. So there's probably 7 layers of paint on this ear, and I sculpted it and it looks like the back is cut off, so it's all bloody and gross looking, and then the other side looks like a perfect ear with the pinks and the yellows and the depth of the ear. I was obsessed with this ear. What the heck am I gonna wear, right? So I order a bodysuit. It comes here just in time, comes in that next day. I'm able to then secure a mannequin, because the thing about painting a bodysuit, guys, is that it has to be the same size as the person who's gonna wear it, because if you wear it, or if you start painting it, when it's flat, and it's all shrunken up and you go to put it on, all that paint, it's going to stretch and it's going to rip and your piece is going to look disastrous. So regardless of how flexible your acrylic paint, it's going to break. So I had to go. I picked up a mannequin down in La Quinta, just down the street from me. I was so stoked to get this mannequin. Now I can make clothing and do all sorts of other fun stuff with this mannequin. But I go pick it up, I put my bodysuit on it, and in 2 days, I paint that bodysuit as a Starry Night. And so Matt was Van Gogh with his ear chopped off, and I was a Starry Night. And I I'm obsessed with this costume. I'm so excited to wear it for years to come because it's so simple, it's so cute, and I am so proud of the work that I did. A lot of people might say, no way you can make a costume in 2 to 3 days before Halloween. Even the lady who sold me the mannequin, when I told her that I was going to paint a Starry Night, she was like, for Halloween? In 2 days? Because it was the end of Tuesday. Like, I wasn't getting this mannequin, bright and early Tuesday. No, it was Tuesday evening after work. By we'll call it 6 o'clock, I was home with the mannequin and I had to put that bodysuit on it and get to work. And it was a good couple days there of just painting whenever I could. I work a 40-hour job, you guys. I've had to work that job and then paint this bodysuit. So I will post some pictures of that. I'm so excited how it turned out. I hope you guys had a happy Halloween. And yeah, let's get into some tips, right? You want some help? You want some go-to things? Let's get into it. Let's start with the fundamental phrase for the week. It is, when you're hurt, find love for yourself to find healing. When you're hurt, you guys, find love for yourself in order to find healing. It can be so easy to want to get outside of ourselves and just continue to beat ourselves up and beat ourselves down, or maybe beat someone else up who has made us feel this way. Not made us feel this way, because no one can make you do anything, but has inspired you to feel this way. Take the time to find love for yourself, find compassion in those moments so that we can really find healing. And I'm not going to lie to you guys, the way that this fundamental phrase came about was actually from a phrase that tormented me for, we're going to call it 28 years of my life. And I love my dad so much. I know he did not mean it to be such a horrible phrase in my mind, but everybody has their own interpretation of the things that we say, which is why I think it's so crucial to pay attention to the way we communicate, to the words that we're saying. And so this phrase that my dad was saying growing up was, anytime I would get injured, and I got injured a lot, I would end up with all these cuts and bruises and some scars. And my dad would always say, hey, if you keep getting scars, no one's gonna love you. No one's gonna marry you. You're gonna live at home with your parents for the rest of your life. And so in my little child brain, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm hurt. I'm ugly. No one loves me. And I'm worthless. Just lots of insecurities popped up around this phrase because I was always injured. I do go full force on everything in life. I give it my all. And in sports, that does result in some injuries. In bike riding, that results in some injuries. In scooting, I used to have a Razor scooter. I loved that thing. I would wipe out on it all the time. I don't know. It just happens. My mom says I can never have a motorcycle because she's afraid I'll die on it. I kind of don't necessarily think she's wrong. I'm never going to say I'm never going to get a motorcycle, though. So we'll see what happens there. But through coaching, actually, is when I found out that this phrase, this horrible phrase, right, has stuck it with me, and that was like what my fundamental phrase was, and I was like, I don't want that to be something, that's not even my voice. It was literally my dad's voice in my head telling me that. And so, again, just a reminder of, you get to choose your beliefs. You get to choose what echoes in your brain and how you proceed through life. And in coaching, they wanted us to bring our gremlins to life. They wanted us to actually make them in however we saw fit. And so the first step of having a gremlin is naming the gremlin. And so for me, I loved Tina because for me, insecure Tina is how it felt, is that she was insecure and she wasn't sure of herself. She wasn't confident in the scars that she had gained. And so me being hurt, I really did have to find that love for myself in order to find healing. You know, in order to really move forward, there was a level of acceptance that had to happen. And so I took this project and I sculpted out of air dry clay a woman's figure. And it's also hollow on the inside because you can put flowers in it. It's a flower vase. And there's all of these cracks throughout it. And on Tina, all of these cracks, they're filled with gold to represent the idea of kintsugi. And kintsugi is from Asian descent, right? And it is where if something is broken, they glue it back together with gold so that way it's even more beautiful. And to me, that just spoke so deeply to this phrase that was tormenting me, that by giving ourselves love when we're hurt, we are really able to find that level of acceptance, that level of love and compassion that we deserve. And so creating Insecure Tina for me, it was huge. I still have her in my house to this day. I brought her down from Washington, made in Washington, brought down to California. She is absolutely stunning. And she's such a good reminder that I am not my past experiences. I am not my traumas. I am beautiful. I am unique. And I have learned lessons that I get to share with the world. And with Tina, you know, and being insecure, it was not only about being insecure in my body, but who I was, on who I thought that I was supposed to be. So I was reckless. You know, I broke myself down into pieces, but I also glued myself back together with that little extra sparkle. And with this awareness, there's space for new life. I'm even stronger and more beautifully unique, right? Because although Tina had been broken down and torn apart, she single-handedly glued herself back together, you know? She was insecure about how she looked. And as a gremlin, that is why she was trying to protect me from the world. She was trying to protect me from failure, from becoming broken like her. So she kept me from taking a lot of leaps. She kept me for years from making this podcast, you know, and I'm not mad at Tina. And I think that we need to recognize that our gremlins, they are, you know, past versions of ourselves. They are just trying to protect us. And so, you know, you can't hold resentment. You can't have anger for those things. We have to find that acceptance in order to move on. And so I'm not mad at Tina. I still am not mad at Tina, even if she tries to creep up from time to time. You know, she's just trying to protect me. And I think I've maybe said it here before, but I had to give her a new job. I had to give her some new duties because she thinks her job is protecting me. She doesn't know how to protect me, right? Obviously, she's got this, we're going to call it childish mindset of, oh, just abstain from the thing to avoid failure. Sometimes we've got to take those leaps. And so I gave her the new job of, hey girl, how about you just tell me how awesome I'm doing? How about you give me the support that's going to fuel me to want to be better instead of wanting to withdraw? And so with that, you guys, self-love. How the heck can we express self-love, right? Because maybe you haven't been able to explore that channel yet. Maybe you grew up in an environment where self-love was not practiced, where self-love was not talked about. And so let's talk about some ways in which we can express self-love. Breathing is number one. Everybody can breathe. Unless you're dead. And you're not dead. Even if you feel dead right now and you're listening to this, you're breathing, you're alive, you're here. And you have the opportunity to love yourself. You have the opportunity to find healing in this moment. And so how can you do that, right? Other than breathing. Drinking water. Drinking water. Our bodies, 75% of our body is water. The answers lie within. It's water, you guys. Drink some water. It is an act of self-care, right? Outside of that, you can take a shower. You can go for a walk. You can exercise and then take a shower. You can create something. For me this week, I was having some hard times battling some emotions of abandonment and of loss. I was really mourning the loss of some people in my life that, although I know I wasn't able to continue to show up for them the way that I was once able to, it still hurt me to know that they were no longer in my life. And so for me, instead of crying and binging TV, which I've done before, I'm not going to lie to you, ever, I channeled it into a painting. I started a painting January 1st thinking, I'm going to paint this giant picture. I'm going to paint pictures all year long. I didn't touch it after January 1st. I made excuses that I needed paint because it was such a big painting. I needed more paint in order to get it done. I got that paint and it sat for an additional 9 months. You guys, I don't know. I just couldn't bring myself to do it. And in my sobriety journey, I've found that channeling those emotions into something releases those emotions. It allows you to move forward. And so for me, creating is a huge form of self-love for me. I also love massage. I love to give massages. Why on earth should I not get massages, right? Why shouldn't you get a massage? It's so easy to bring your little tootsie up, rub your foot, rub your thighs, rub your hands. If you're on the computer all day, rub your hands, you guys. A good hand massage. It's so easy to do. You decide what feels good. And so touch yourself. Figure out what feels good. Give yourself that little self-massage. You could do a gratitude list for self-love, right? Attracting more things to be grateful for by focusing on the things that we already have. And the last thing you could do that I'm going to mention here is eat a nourishing meal. Focus on some of those nutrients. I know we talked about how I'm going to start bringing nutrients into this podcast from time to time. Give yourself a nourishing meal. And for me, one thing that I've noticed is magnesium, you guys. Magnesium is a relaxation mineral. Magnesium, it can be found in leafy greens, bok choy, spinach, Swiss chard. It can be found in nuts and legumes, beans, nuts, almonds, cashews, Brazil nuts, pumpkin seeds, and avocado, you guys. Magnesium, by being a relaxation mineral, it regulates your nervous system. It promotes production of GABA, which is a neurotransmitter that calms your mind. And magnesium, it's released to better sleep. Oh, do you not want better sleep? I know I've been craving better sleep. And so adding a little magnesium linked to better sleep and reduced anxiety. I don't know if you've been feeling anxious. There was some periods in my life, and they continue to come up from time to time where I start to feel anxious, right? And it's a hurt, right? Those stress chemicals pumping through your body, it can hurt you. It's breaking your body down in order for you to get through the tough times. And so check out those nutrients. And on this week's podcast, magnesium. That's the one I'm giving you. The relaxation mineral, because in times of stress, take a chill pill. But have the chill pill not be an actual pill. Have it be a natural thing from the environment. Something that allows our body to produce the chemicals itself. To regulate itself. To allow our body to do its job. So, eat these nuts. And nuts are also a great thing to take on the trails, you guys. I love hiking so much, especially in my Xero boots that I got. I love, love, love my Xero boots. They're so low profile and they're so light. I hate a heavy boot. And so I am a Xero affiliate. If you want to get me paid when you buy your new Xero shoes, maybe you need some new hiking boots yourself, you want to try out Xero, use my Xero affiliate link. It is xeroshoes.com/go/Tyler the Lady. And that is Xero with an X because they're edgy. Don't forget to rate, review, subscribe, and share this podcast. This is how we grow. This is how we spread the wealth of information. We share, we talk about it. And if you want to talk about it with me, maybe you want to let me know how some of these past episodes have helped you. Maybe you want to let me know what you thought of Marisol. Please reach out. I would love to hear from you. I love to connect. I love to relate to people. I love to hear your stories. And so you can reach me on social media at Broadpoints or at Tyler the Lady. And if you want to email me, by golly, you can. It is broadpointspodcast@gmail.com. So just one more time, wrap it up, put a bow on it for you with that fundamental phrase for the week. When you're hurt, find love for yourself to find healing.